In this video, we're talking all about playtesting, early release and game pivoting. Hey there, Kevin here. We are talking all about playtesting, early release and pivoting your game. Now, it's been pretty difficult to figure out exactly where this video should sit within the series, but as I'm recording these things now, I believe it's probably the perfect time to explain why the game is very different from the original idea of the multiplayer battle royale that was originally planned. As I mentioned in the welcome and introduction video, given the time restraints we had, along with a few other issues, this was not going to be possible. The map was built and it seemed logical that a single player version was essentially to clear the map each time would be a great alternative so we could release the game. The goal at this stage was to finish, plain and simple, my learning project was done and it would be released. Yop had done an amazing job creating all the node systems and mechanics, and everything was bug free and working well. I had playtested quite extensively and we'd addressed a couple of snags along the way, but all was technically good. So we hit the release button and gave each other a thumbs up. It had been fun. It had been really fun getting into the editor. However, it was quite obvious very early on that there was one huge glaring issue, and this didn't sit very well with either of us. Again, I had playtested quite thoroughly, but this is more of a technical playtest rather than a player experience flag. Chest opens, weapons were dispatched, gold was collectible, and the baddies could be defeated and their counter went down. Nice. But unfortunately, I had never actually sat down really and played through the entire level to complete our game loop. This I knew worked, but I hadn't actually finished an entire cycle of the game. This was a huge problem. Now, after a couple of attempts, it took me around 33 minutes to actually complete the map. 33 minutes for a level. Long, grindy, and quite honestly, if I wasn't involved in the project, I would have given up way sooner if I wasn't trying to test. Now, it was at this point we decided to create this series and document the process along the way. This would expose our mistakes, and this one especially, as making games can be hard and it's important to understand this. However, not to be disheartened, there was a logical plan to rectify this, so we set about doing just that. The obvious solution was to segment the map into separate bite-sized levels, and this would ensure that our game loop was shortened significantly and give the game a fighting chance. Of course, this presented a whole new set of challenges, including how the player would navigate through the different stages, game flow and so much more. The biggest issue immediately that came to light was the game camera, and this is something that Shogun will address in later videos in the series, but for now we needed to at least solve the game loop problem and get rid of the huge map that we built. This is also exactly why the first few videos in this series highlight the importance of planning and game scope. It's really vital that you understand exactly what you're going to be building and not change and pivot so much as we've done here. It was at this point that Yop once again came to the rescue and did an incredible job in creating the map system that you'll see in the game now. We also continue to add more and more features to turn this into a proper single player experience. So our simple battle royale was transforming into a full-on single player game and expanding greatly from the original concept. I think if we hadn't decided to create this series, we most likely would have given up and left the game where it was. But where's the fun in that? So I hope that provides you a little bit of insight on why the game is very different to the original concept, why we made the big pivot on release, why playtesting is an essential part of your development process and shouldn't be rushed, and to make sure that you put yourself in the shoes or the minds of your players you're trying to attract and see how it's feeling really subjectively. If you can, try and get a friend or a loved one to try and play your game, but ensure when they're doing that you just watch over their shoulder and don't say anything. Just watch what they do, how they react, and you'll learn a ton. Of course, on the HypeHype platform we have the instant replays that you can watch down below, so make use of that feature. It's really powerful and can be very eye-opening. Alright, as always, I'd love to hear your comments on this. Do let me know below, and I will see you on the next video.